Hello and welcome to another adventure. Well, up on the building block today I've got a Remington Speedmaster 241. Now this one is a little bit of an interesting looking beast. I'll get to that in a minute. Now, in my last video that I put up, I discussed how there's two different types of 22 long rifle rounds. Both of them are in the same case, but that's another story. Now, this is another one of the weapons I got where it looked like crud, didn't want to function, nothing. Well, now I have, now it's time to put it back together. Well, I'm going to use some of my all-time favorite stuff. Now, you guys can either like it, dislike it, I prefer it. Wilson Combat or Ultima Lube. You know, this stuff is like liquid gold in ways. Well, all I'm doing is just applying a thin coat, because that's all it takes with this stuff, around certain surfaces. With this bolt, you can only do it one way. You know, you've got a little notch inside of here. You've got a little notch on your firing pin. Now that's the beautiful piece. Now, all you have to do is just line them up, drop them in their hole. This is your trigger housing. Now, one thing I like about this is that there's no screws in it. You know, it's not like you have to worry about screwing stuff in or something like that. It's very easy. Now, all I'm doing is just pressing it in. On the bottom of this, there's actually a little. On the bottom of this, there's actually a little tab. You know, right where my middle finger is pressing. All you gotta do is come in, press it in, and it's in. Well, that might be all well and good for some people, but I like to apply a little bit of oil onto it. Either oil or grease, just so that this way I know point blank it's going to function. And it's not going to be from a lack of lubricant. Oh, that looks gorgeous right there. You know, it's already running the way it should. You know, like I said, some people prefer it, other people don't. Next up, what you have to do is you have two springs. Now, I like to use the bigger spring. There's two different sizes, so it's not like you can really get it confusing. Now, your bigger spring and your smaller spring, they only go one way. Your smaller spring actually goes inside the firing pin. So, all you've got to do is just come up over here, push it down a little bit, and set it right into the little notch. Now I'll actually zoom in so you can actually see it. Now, that's with the small screw. Now you can actually see how it's sitting right now. Well, that's going to get fixed in a minute. Now that little notch is right where it is, right under this little catch right here. So all you gotta do is just look up a little bit more. That's where your first spring is gonna go. It's gonna go inside your firing pin and get connected right under your latch. Now this one, what you have to do is push it in, push it down, and it clips right here. And I'll actually zoom in again so you can actually see exactly what it looks like. Now, I mean, like I said, this is actually a really easy, really simple weapon. I mean, it's a little tougher, but it's still fairly easy to work on. Now, with this, again, I say, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply a little bit of lube right on top of the springs. And that's just because of the push rod, or that's just because of the rods. Now you can see how the firing pin is connected. Now if you notice, on the firing pin, you got this little rod. Well, that's where your notch goes. Then on the other side, you've got your other spring. And you can see right where it goes. You know, it's a little notch. It's fairly easy. Now, when I pull the trigger, you know, this is one of the 22s that you can actually dry fire. Watch what happens. Notice how the little bar right here actually moves up and down. Well, that's how it's caught. You know, this is one of the stranger Remingtons I've seen. Now, like I said, what I do is I just apply a little bit of grease or oil in certain places. And it's not that I don't trust it, but I just want to make sure it's going to function. Well, here's your buttstock. If you notice, there is no barrel on it yet. Well, this is a breakdown. I'll show you how that functions in a minute. Now, all you've got to do with this is just push it in, push it up. See how it snaps? Right into place. Push up. Now with this, you might have to play with it a little bit to get it into the hole. Sorry, it didn't go into the right hole. But that's why I used a non-marring that's why I used a non-marring hammer onto it. It's just so that this way I knew point blank I wasn't going to mark anything. And it's not going to do any kind of damage. Now you can see how well that fits. Yeah, right here. Just apply a little bit of lube on the bottom. Spread it around. You know, this is like one of those jobs where you actually do have to get a little bit of grease on your fingers. But it's nothing that won't wash off. Now you can see over here. Wait, where's the ejection on it? I don't think there is one. Well, believe it or not, with this one, your charger and your ejection is both right here. So, I'll show you in a minute how this one works. Now, as you can see in your barrel, there's no shell until now. Now I'm putting a shell in. Now, if you notice, there's no projectile on it. All it is just basically a blasting cap. I like them so I could test out the 22s. You know, if I was able to, I'd do it with a few others, but unfortunately I don't have a hand loading setup. So I can't use just 9mm or 223 or some kind of hand loading setup like that. Now, right now this is ready to go. Now, I wonder if it'll function. I heard it pop. No, let's check to see if it'll eject. Well, obviously, I pushed in before I was supposed to. So, you know, like I said, this is one of those that you don't really have to worry about it. So, I mean, it's fairly easy to take out the barrel. So that's at least a good thing. Don't tell me that ejector shot. Let's see something. That's your shell. Now, let's try this again. Now I'm going to put a live round in. Now, unlike a lot of your 22s, this is actually where your rounds go. You can actually see the little window over here. Now, this is one of those 22s that, like I said, prefers the shorter projectile. So now when I charge it, you should be able to see the round right in there. Yep. A round is in. Now let's see what happens when I push it back again. Well, sure enough, here's the round. Now, here's your two projectiles. Right there. Now, if you look closely, you can actually see that there is a difference. You know, the Marlin that I worked on in the last video, it prefers this round. You know, it prefers your longer round. I don't know why. They're both the same grain weight, same everything. Whereas this one prefers the shorter round. I mean, you could definitely see that there is quite a bit of difference. But, I mean, that's why you need to actually test out your weapons. You know, you need to find out what loads are going to work where. You need to find out what loads aren't going to work. So, I mean, it's up to you in doing your part. I can't do it for you. But I figured I'd bring out a couple of the different weapons I did have, at least for the next couple of days. In my next couple of videos, I'm going to be bringing out a couple handguns, maybe a couple other rifles, you know. Well, you guys have yourself a nice night. Talk to you next time. See you later. Bye.